Alright, I'm back once again. This time we're going to record a video about annunciators and lights. Basically how to get lights that would show up in your cockpit outside in your real home cockpit. So this is a little bit different than inputs because instead of you sending signals into the Arduino for SimVim to interpret for X-Plane, now you're taking signals from X-Plane that SimVim takes and outputs out to your hardware, to your lights and displays and whatever. So in my cockpit, I only have a few of them right now. The three that are here in the middle here by my transponder L7 segment display, the autopilot reset, the FMC reset light, which is on right now, and the auto throttle reset. Those three are three that I have here. I also have up on my little MCP panel, I have the command A little light and the command B little light. I also have the master warning annunciator light right there, the big yellow one. I also have the fire warning light on this side. So for now, I'm going to leave it right there on the fire warning light. And if I go to my simulator here, I'll go basically by the throttle quadrant. I'll do the fire test. So you can see that that light will come on. And I can also do the other. So you see the light turns on and turns off. Unfortunately, I can't see it here in the simulator at the same time because I can't move the view while I'm pressing that button. Of course, if I would have programmed one of my many buttons already to do that, then I could have a different view in here. So now, if we go back over here for some reason, which I'm not even sure right now why, you can see that the auto throttle reset light is flashing as it is here in the airplane too. So the good thing about these buttons that I put here, that they're actually buttons and they're lights, so when I press them, it'll cancel the warning. And as you can see inside the airplane, it also canceled the warning. So that's kind of cool. So yeah, basically right now here I have the last one left right now here is my master caution light over here that is on. And if I turn it off, it turns off, and it turns off inside the cockpit as well. So that's one way of getting annunciators, or one use for annunciator lights in your home cockpit. Obviously, if we go to the 737 and we go to the overhead panel, I mean, you got tons of annunciator lights. If I do the annunciator light test, you can see everything lights up. So each one of those that has a little light behind it, you know, you can actually output to your cockpit. Now the problem with this is that obviously you don't have that many pins on your Arduino, correct? So you wouldn't be able to use that many of them. Luckily, the guys at SimVim have found a solution for that. So what you can do is you can use these register LED drivers, for example the DM13A, and basically what it is a current limiting or steady current chip that can allow you to power up to 16 LEDs with one of these. And I believe they're pretty cheap. He has links to a bunch of different chips right here. If you just follow the instructions that are here on his website, you can see how you would need to wire them up. It's a little bit more complicated than just having you know, one coming directly out of the Arduino, but it gives you basically the multiplying factor that you can connect 16 of these for every one pin that you can use on your Arduino. And if you wanted to wire them the way I have them, since I only have a few of them right now, I actually have them wired directly to the Arduino. So the ones that I bought, they're actually already pre-built with a resistor, and they're made to be used with 5 volts. So you don't need to use a resistor. But if you just use plain LEDs, you need to use a resistor before each one, basically. Otherwise you'll burn them out or you'll damage them because the current coming out of the Arduino would be too high. And he has examples of how to use those LED drivers to make like those bar, annunciators, where it could be, like a fuel gauge or something that will be decreasing as you use your fuel. I mean, all the instructions are here on the website. They're beautiful. So another one that you can use is also these 74HC595 driver boards. But the problem with these is that you do have to use a resistor, just like if you were coming out of the Arduino directly. So the only ones that you do not need a resistor apparently are like all of these right here that are on the top. They're called LED drivers, and they are current limiting, so they will not damage your LEDs. So now, how do you go about configuring your configurator in order to use these lights? Well, right here I have mine open already, my configuration file, and as you can see, I have on number 11 I have the master caution. On number 12 I have the master warning light. On number 14 I have the parking brake annunciator. Number 15 the auto brake disarm light, and then the 20 and 21 is the autopilot disconnected and the auto throttle disarmed. And over here I have auto brake disarmed and anti-skid brake off, because I just changed them. I used to have them with command A on for the autopilot and command B on, but I was playing around with them, so I just switched them. But basically all you need to do when you want to configure one of these things is, for example, if I wanted to change these right here, you could just go into either the configuration table or the image maps. So if you wanted to do something with the overhead panel, let's just say, for example, you wanted to do the window heat LEDs. So you basically just select, the one that you want to use, and then it tells you to select the output or LED driver. So let's say I want to do number 52 for that one, and I'll replace it, and then we'll do that for another one. Let's say we want to do this window heat light on, and we'll use number 53 for that one, replace it. Now that they're both here, now save my configuration file under the same name, and of course I want to overwrite it. And then we go back into the simulator. We'll go to the overhead panel here, and right now you can see that they're not on. And if I turn on my window heat, be turned on. I forgot to do one thing. Supposed to reload the configuration. Every time you do a change, you have to reload the configuration, or else it won't work. But you see how the lights turned on? So you can see both inside the cockpit here, they are on, and out here in my cockpit, they're both on. Now if I turn off my window heat, they turn off. Turn on my window heat, they turn back on. So that's as simple as it is. Now there is situations where maybe not everything is already configured here in the configuration images. So there is some annunciators you have to go to the data table, and you can go to the different types. For example, the engine ones, you see that normally you're under engine controls, but if you go to the instruments or warnings, you can see all these different annunciators and instruments that you can do. Now I don't know exactly what all these letters still mean. So apparently, you can select a light, a bar indicator, a 7-segment display, a stepper motor gauge, a pulse width modulation control device, a servo driven gauge, or an alphanumeric LCD or OLED display. So there's a lot of flexibility in what you can use. Now the ones for just lights, LED lights, are the ones with just with a single L, and you can just basically click on any one of those. You're going to select that you want an LED or single digital output, and you're going to select the pin where you want to put it and replace whatever you already have there if you have something there. Now if you want to use an LCD display or a seven segment display, first you have to configure the pin, but not all the pins can be configured for displays. Like if I try to do it on this one, you can see that the LED driver for the Max 7219 and the 7 segment display is grayed out, so I can't use it there. But I can use an LCD display if I wanted to, or other types of devices. These yellow ones over here, you could put those displays, so almost everything except the analog multiplexer will be on for this ones. So I could select, for example, an LED driver like that 7319, I'm sorry, the DM13A that we were talking about earlier, or I can select, let's see, I can select an LED driver for the Max or a 7 segment module, and then there's different types that you can choose. So for each one of these things you have to select the right one. So for example, the one I have here in my for my squawk code right there, it's a 1637 and it's a 4-digit module. So I would select that and then confirm it, and now it's saved as a 7 segment module, and that's how you do it. So for each one of these different things you have to go through and configure everything. Sometimes you have to do it before. So like if I wanted to do this display, I wouldn't be able to assign it if I go, for example, to the navigation. Let's go to the transponder and radio. The transponder. So if I wanted to do, where's my code? Flight number. Okay, current transponder code. If I wanted to do that one, for example, I couldn't just select that one and then choose 7 segment display and then select one of these. It doesn't let me. Or even one of these. Oh, one of those it actually will let me. So then that's where I could select what kind of display I have. So, but if I wanted to select that one with something that I had already assigned, for example, current transponder code, and then I can say it's a 7 segment display, and this one is already pre-programmed, so I could just select that one and put it in there. And then there's other options that you can use. There's a lot of information, you know, that you really need to read the web pages and try to figure all this stuff out, because there's a lot of stuff here that I haven't done, like I said before, so I'm not able to clearly explain everything. And even maybe this that I'm trying to do now, maybe I'm confusing you even more, but I'm hoping that I'm kind of helping understand a little bit more. But for the lights, the LED lights and little things like that, it's very straightforward. Like I said, just, you know, go to whatever you want to do. For example, if you have a, you know, let's say you wanted to do an actual like strobe light or something like that, you can actually, you know, put that, choose LED single digit, and select the pin where you want to put it, and then save your configuration file, and that's it. Pretty straightforward. And like I said, most of the ones that are not in the images, even though a lot of them already are, you can find in the data table here, and that's all there is to it. So just as another example, we'll do one more. Okay, let's do the emergency lights on. Alright, so I just did the emergency lights off. Oops. So there's the emergency lights right here. So if I turn them off, if I put them on armed or on, that's when the light comes on. It's because it's not armed. Oh, sorry, I'm showing you. That's the green light on the right there. When I go back to armed, the light turns off. If I turn them off, the light turns back on. Alright. So that's pretty much how you do annunciators. I guess if we wanted to try, let's try this the low pressure lights for the hydraulics. We'll give that one a shot here. So we go to the image maps, we'll go to the overhead, and we'll go right there to the bottom. Alright, so electric hydraulic fault 2, we'll put it on number 52, and then electric hydraulic fault 1, we'll put it on 53. We'll save the configuration file. And then we'll go back to the simulator, reload the configuration. Alright, so right now both of the lights are on because I have the hydraulic pumps off. So let's see, if I turn them on, the lights come off. Just as it should, just like in here in the simulator. Now if I turn them off again, the lights come back on. And pretty much that's how you do it for any annunciator. Now the wiring, even though I already talked about it in different parts, I'm going to go back to my little display here, that little diagram that I made for the other how to use relays video, but I deleted a whole bunch of stuff. I just forgot to delete this right here in the bottom, so don't pay attention to that. So once again, you're going to take whatever pins you want to configure as your output pins. You're going to send it out to the light, the LED light or whatever light you're going to use. That's 5 volts or less. Now, if your lights are close together, like I said, you can join all the ground wires together and then just run one of them to a common ground with the Arduino. If they're not all together, then you might want to run or put out certain ground distribution blocks in different areas of your cockpit, and that way you can just run the wires there. When I started doing mine, it was basically a mess. It's become a mess because I didn't plan that I was going to do so many things. So for me, it's been a little bit different. But hopefully that you can take something out of this video. I don't have a good layout of how to do it and everything. So sometimes when I'm rambling on and on, I kind of backtrack and I go back and forth, and I even confuse myself sometimes. But hopefully I'm not confusing anybody out there, because that's completely the opposite of what I'm trying to do with these videos. Alright, so I guess that's about it for this video. I've been talking for a long time, and I hope I did a good job explaining what I'm trying to get across here. But it's pretty straightforward. Once you start doing a couple of them, you'll see how easy it is. I still have to try myself to order some of those DM13A chips so that I can do a lot of LEDs. Right now, like I said, the only thing I'm using is little individual lights that are pre-wired already with a resistor built in, and it's a lot easier than when you're trying to do a lot of lights. So anyways, hopefully all the information that I laid out here helped and will get you going towards building your overhead panel or any other sections of any aircraft that you're trying to put together. Alright, well, until next time.